Hey guys, it's Cyrus of Chaos. Today I wanted to talk to you all about the best way to send photos and short videos over the phone in order to best preserve quality. I decided to make this video after an interaction I have quite often. Someone sends me either a photo or highlight that I really like on Instagram. I ask them if I can post it and they respond, sure, but let me send it over WhatsApp because the quality is much better. But recently, when someone sent me something that ended up being quite pixelated over WhatsApp and not, in fact, much better quality, I started wondering what the best way to actually send photos and short videos over messaging apps is. So I reached out to my friend David Zaidman, who is a fencer, photographer, and general goofball who I've worked with before, and asked if he would be interested in figuring out the best way to send this stuff to me as well. Naturally, he was just as interested as I was in what the genuine best way to send photos and videos is, so he sent me the same two photos, one he took of me, and one he took of a very handsome cat, and a 1-minute video of himself on 6 different messaging apps. In alphabetical order, those apps are iMessage, Instagram, Messenger, Signal, Snapchat, and WhatsApp. The quality of photos in this video will be discussed in terms of how many pixels they contain, and if you have an iPhone, you can actually swipe up on an image to get a convenient little menu with a bunch of useful information, including the dimensions of the photo in pixels. Here are the dimensions of the original photo of me, which was taken on a fancy camera. During this video, I'm only going to read the pixel number of the first dimension in order to just save some time. So here, this photo has about 8,000 pixels in the x-axis. Now, let's take a look at the other photos. The first one, which was sent over Messenger, was about 4,000 pixels on the x-axis, and it's a reduction, but that's still pretty good. If we look at Instagram, it was 1,170 pixels, so a pretty severe reduction. Messenger was pretty good as well, not as good as iMessage, but still pretty good, about 2,000 pixels. Signal was the same, also about 2,000 pixels. Snapchat did better than everything except iMessage 2,200 pixels, which surprised the hell out of me. And then WhatsApp, which everyone says is so great, is 1,600 pixels in the x-axis, which is actually the worst out of everything. So now that we're done with that one, you can see that iMessage did the best here, but if you don't have an iPhone, surprisingly, Snapchat is actually the best option. But now let's take a look at the photos of Handsome Cat. So here's the original, where there were 3,000 pixels in the x-axis. And the other ones which were sent, again, we swipe up to see this information, through iMessage, it was 1,500 pixels, which, again, surprised the hell out of me because this photo was taken on an iPhone, and there was a pretty steep reduction in quality when sent on iMessage, which you'd think would be good for for that sort of thing. Instagram was 1,100 pixels, which is not that good. Messenger was 3,000 pixels, which is a perfect preservation of quality. Signal was Signal was not that good either. Signal was 1,500 pixels, which is a pretty sharp decrease. Snapchat was 1,600, which is not bad, but still pretty severe. And again, WhatsApp is just not that good, 1,200 pixels. So the second surprise of this little experiment for me was that since Handsome Cat was photographed using an iPhone, I had assumed that iMessage would do the best at sending here, but that was not the case at all. It actually did quite poorly. But Messenger perfectly preserved the quality with everything else doing worse than that. So in both of these cases, far from being the best, WhatsApp was actually the second worst option, with Instagram performing the worst in both cases. So now let's take a look at the 1-minute video. So here the dimensions, so before we talk about dimensions, we actually have to get into something else. So with videos, there's actually something other than pixels that determine quality, and that is the frame rate. So a higher frame rate is better than a low one. The reason we decided to use 1-minute video here is because some apps don't even let you send a longer video. I think Instagram definitely used to have a 1-minute cap. I think now it's a 90-second cap. But whenever you send anything over these, the bigger the size of the item you're transferring, the more the quality will be crunched. And so if someone is actually sending me a big video that I'm using for YouTube, I'm going to have them send it to me using either Google Drive or Dropbox or Send Anywhere, something like that, which is more of an inconvenience but perfectly preserves quality to be used over a long period of time. So anyway, the original video that David had on his phone of himself fencing was 1 minute long, and it was 1900 pixels in the x-axis and 60 frames per second. So let's see how that compares to the other apps when sent across the camera, the phone. So iPhone did not perform super well. It was 1280 pixels and only 30 FPS. Messenger was perfect in terms of preserving pixel quality, but it lost half of the frames, so it reduced it down to a 30 FPS video instead of a 60. Instagram did quite poorly, as per usual. Only 1000 pixels in the x-axis and also a 30 FPS video. Signal perfectly preserved frame rate, but it drastically reduced pixel quality. Also, I don't know what's going on up here with that glitch. Which one is this one? Snapchat. What? Snapchat did a perfect job of preserving quality. It preserved both pixel and frame rate perfectly, which again is pretty wacky. I should mention a little caveat. When David sent me this video over Snapchat, it actually took it a very long time. I think it got stuck or something, but when he killed the app and sent it again, I think it ended up sending in a reasonable amount of time. So, but regardless, right now, Snapchat is the clear winner, and WhatsApp preserved the frame rate perfectly, but only sent with 850 pixels in the x-axis. So that is not a ringing endorsement of Snapchat. I'm sorry, that is not a ringing endorsement of WhatsApp like everyone had said. And so in this little video experiment, I was once again surprised by what I saw. Snapchat is by far and away the best option, preserving both pixel quality and frame rate, which again surprised the hell out of me. Messenger was the second best in terms of everything because it perfectly kept pixel quality but reduced the frame rate down to 30%. I'm sorry, down to 30 FPS. And so most people don't even notice the frame rate. If you're very fixated on high quality like I am, then I certainly notice it, but I think that if you don't have access to Snapchat, Messenger is the best option here if you have a Facebook account. But not a lot of people do anymore. So you might think that I would just recommend Snapchat for transferring those photos and videos, but there's actually a little bit more to the story here. Because both WhatsApp and Signal both have an HD sending feature. So let's see how those options compare with everything else that we've seen so far. So this photo of me, this is a much higher quality photo. Remember, the original had about 8,000 pixels in the x-axis. This one has about 5,000 pixels in the x-axis, which puts it firmly in first place. WhatsApp for Handsome Cat, also perfectly preserved quality, 3,000 in the x-axis, just like exactly the same as the original photo. But the video still didn't perform as well as Snapchat did. This video is 1280 pixels in the x-axis, but it is 60 frames per second, so that part is better. And then for Signal, the photo of me was 4,000 pixels in the x-axis. Handsome Cat was again perfectly preserved, and weirdly, there's that stupid glitch again, and weirdly, hey, stop it. And weirdly, Signal didn't perform any better in the HD version than it did in the SD version. So that's a little odd. And just to really view the difference in contrast, let's zoom in a little bit on this. You can see every hair on my head and the light reflecting off of them in pretty good quality. And look at those beautiful eyes. And then you can even see on my arm the the quality of like the hairs on my arm is perfect. It's crazy. The detail that you can see like of the lights in the background, it's just, that's really impressive. Now let's compare that to the original WhatsApp version. It's still okay, but you can see it gets grainy pretty quickly, and you can't zoom in on my beautiful eyes nearly as much as you could in the high definition version. And again, if you look at like the hairs on my arm, you can really see there's a marked decrease in quality. So what did we actually learn from this? Well, I definitely learned something. People are right, technically, when they say that WhatsApp is the best feature for sharing in terms of both convenience and quality, because other things like Snapchat or Messenger, you have to have either a Snapchat account, you have to friend the person, they have to add you back. Messenger, you have to have a Facebook account, again, you have to friend the person, they have to add you back. That's just kind of a pain in the ass. But WhatsApp, you just need the person's number and then you can just send them stuff. So that's extremely convenient, but there is a very strong caveat here. You have to make sure that the HD option is turned on, because if it's not, you're going to send stuff in really poor quality. The convenient thing about this, though, is if you get sent something, and I'll show these images on the screen right now, if you get sent something, you can actually see there's a little HD flag in the lower left corner that shows you if something sent on WhatsApp is in HD, and if it's not, that little flag is not displayed. So definitely WhatsApp is the best option for convenience in terms of sending photos. But for sending highlights, Snapchat outperformed everything else. It preserved the quality of the video perfectly in terms of both pixel and frame rate, which again, I found very surprising. If you don't have a Snapchat account and you don't want to go through the process of getting one, adding the person, having them add you back, whatever, that's understandable. WhatsApp still performs extremely well. But again, assuming you have the HD option on. So when people all the time say that WhatsApp is the best for sending these things, they're right, but you have to turn on HD, otherwise it performs quite poorly, especially compared to what the HD version is. So I hope you all learned something today. I definitely did. Also, if you're looking for someone to take high quality photos of you at NACS, I definitely recommend hitting up David Zabin. Like I said, he's a good photographer and a goofball, and he understands fencing, so he knows where he's supposed to be, the timing he's supposed to take pictures of things, and just is a good guy in general. So here's his Instagram information, and you can reach out to him there. So thank you guys for everything, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my Emerald and Platinum patrons, David Amrani, Jonah Atkinson, Tiffany Miller, Roman Bruce, and Veronica Saran for their very generous contributions to this channel. Any other names you see are gold patrons. Thank you guys so much for the contributions. They really help out a lot and will enable me to make more videos like this. If you have any more ideas for what you want to see next, you can vote on those things on my Patreon page. To help support the channel, you can find links to my Patreon, PayPal, and Venmo accounts in the video information. Thanks guys, see you next time.